It's Wednesday night.
And your theater barn
is live!
I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Baby, is this love? I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Is this love?
Good evening and welcome to New York Theater Barn's New Work Series Live. I'm Joe Barros, the Artistic Director.
And I am Jen Sandler, and I'm the Associate Artistic Director. Tonight, we are so excited to present excerpts from the new musical Salem and Shapeshifters, a queer comic book musical.
That's right. Salem is the new musical from Kirsten, and Shapeshifters, a queer comic book musical, is the new musical from Truth Bachman and Jalen Livingston. In fact, tonight is the first public performance of Salem ever, so you'll always get to say that you saw it here first.
It is true. So welcome to the 13th season of our new work series and the 25th, that's so crazy, 25th installment of our virtual new work series since March. And with all of our virtual programming combined, we have presented 52 new musicals. We are past 50 now. We've lifted up the work of 88 writers. I think we'll be at 100 by Election Day. And we have made space for over 200 artists and partnered with Broadway On Demand. And just like every week, we are simulcasting the Broadway On Demand right now.
That's right. And we also created Theater Barn Records, which is a new imprint of Broadway records and is dedicated to original musicals in development.
Yes, in collaboration with Broadway Records, Theater Barn Records released its first album, Willow, on September 25th.
That's right. And since then, the album has already recouped by 25% and has over 300,000 streams on Spotify. And as of yesterday, Willow debuted at number 7 on the Billboard Cast Album chart.
I can't get over that. And the amazing young faces involved in this project are all under the age of 20. And it's crazy. We are so proud of them. And this weekend, we have a special simulcast on October 10th at 7 p.m. this Saturday, Eastern Time. We will present excerpts from the new musical Willow, including a conversation with the writer, 16-year-old August Greenwood, who was on our broadcast back in July, and 20-year-old Morgan Smith, as well as their collaborator, 17-year-old Nala Palmer, and the teams powering this venture, Theater Barn Records and Broadway Records.
And Willow is the first of several upcoming concept recordings from the Averno creators. Averno is the universe in which Willow takes place. And we're excited to also present a song from the upcoming Averno universe musical Bitter Summer this coming Saturday.
Yeah, Averno, it's like Marvel for theater. It's so inventive. It's so cool. And I'm so excited to hear songs from that show and Bitter Summer. And the Averno creators are changing the game for the musical theater scene, and they're creating community in a time where we need it more than ever, which I think is so cool.
They sure are. And Willow is available wherever you stream music. As an anti-racist nonprofit theater company that actively seeks out and curates important culture-shifting stories from communities we need to hear from, our team has been meeting to discuss ways for our organization to further develop anti-racist culture.
Yes, New York Theater Barn will host a seat at the table, a panel on inclusivity in the theater on Monday, October 19th. The graphic is up right now at 7 p.m. Through a robust conversation, acclaimed leaders of the American theater and our industry will discuss the obstacles and opportunities that the theater community is currently facing. The roundtable is moderated by New York Theater Barn's own Hector Flores Jr., who is the president of Theater Barn Records, as well as our amazing video editor.
And joining Hector at the table will be industry leaders, writers Kirsten Childs, producer Ken Davenport, writer Joe Iconis, performer, director, choreographer Byork Lee, director, choreographer Jerry Mitchell, actor Daniel J. Watts, and artistic director of Baltimore Center Stage, Stephanie Ibarra. And Stephanie Ibarra is the first Latinx artist to be named the artistic director of a LORT theater.
Wow.
Together, this group of artists will take up space to collectively investigate, inspire, and ignite the future of the performing arts. New York Theater Barn is committed to creating a safe space. I'm going to say that again just because there was a loud noise. New York Theater Barn is committed to creating a safe space to have uncomfortable conversations comfortably and believes that there's a place for all of us at the table of the American theater.
Absolutely. And you can get tickets on our website right now. And now here to tell us more about how you can support New York Theater Barn is our resident photographer, Michael Bonaccio.
Hey everybody, my name is Michael Bonaccio, and I'm coming to you from my comfy couch in New York City. I've had the pleasure of being New York Theater Barn's photographer for the past 7 years. And in that time, I've shot actors, writers, directors, and choreographers all collaborating on new work in real time. Being part of the New York Theater Barn story has helped elevate my own work, landing me a photo in a New York Times review, and also connecting me with countless artists that I've been able to help document and uplift through what I do. The New York Theater Barn family is excited to present tonight's culture-shifting musicals, Salem and Shapeshifters, a queer comic book musical. We are pleased that we can uplift the works of Kirsten, Truth Bachman, and Jalen Livingston. New York Theater Barn is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your gift to them tonight is tax deductible. I'm proud to be part of an organization that's fostering community and helping artists get through this difficult time. Thank you for supporting live theater and the development of new musicals. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Michael. We're so lucky to have you as our photographer for the past 7 years.
Yes. So last week's series featured musicals Borderline and The Lucky Boy. Here's a clip from last week's presentation of Benjamin Velez and Ariana Garber's Borderline. Take a look.
There's a girl I see in the mirror. I touch her face and my finger traces her eye.
Well, a lot of the experience was based on my past experiences, and I wrote a thesis for my master's degree on this exact thing, on borderline personality disorder. It dawned upon me that I was like, I need this to be a musical. It has to be a musical. It has to sort of have that music to allow the invitation for people to come in and to understand what's going on.
There's a girl who lives alone in the shadows of her mind. Next to dreams she's thrown away, next to doubts she's left behind. And she hums a little song, just a whisper of a sound in the land of lost and found.
Just hearing her talk about it and her own experiences with it I immediately just felt the need to start writing songs, and I want to help people feel like they shouldn't be ashamed of it and they should get the help.
Just working through the text and the music really carefully together, and just continuing to find the balance of dramedy, which is always a unique thing to explore.
Part of working with Susannah on this was really finding that language that allowed our characters to come through and to understand what they're going through in a way that's communicable to the audience.
Why do these pills all make me
feel like I'm fine when I'm trapped on the I will not be crazy. No, it's in your head. I don't need pills to make me feel like I'm fine. Free from the borderline. Free from the borderline.
You know, I've had so many people thank me in the last week that we told that story, that we're spotlighting mental illness in a time where it's really important. And that's really has affected me, that people feel that way. And I'm really grateful.
Totally. I actually got to play last week's entire presentation for my students at the New York Conservatory of Dramatic Arts. And they have been talking about the songs from Borderline and from Lucky Boy, like every day. They want to sing them. And it was really moving for some students in the class who felt that they could really relate to the themes in Borderline, that they felt represented. So, and now here's a clip from last week's presentation of Kirsten Childs' The Lucky Boy. Take a look.
A lucky boy who would marry the king's daughter because he was 10 times more adorable than the king. But it was impossible.
Ooh, that sounds like him now, Daddy.
No one could survive a toxic dumpster. Could they?
Yeah.
Yeah?
During that 2016, I was sort of struggling with sort of powerlessness, the powerlessness I felt. And so I thought maybe I will try to deal with this in a way that not only brings me less stress, but brings me joy and makes me crack up. Really, the king is, a mess and needs to be validated and actually told that he is the most adorable person in the world. And it's foretold that there's a baby that is going to become more adorable than him. So he just cannot have that happen. So he takes the baby, goes to a nuclear site and throws the baby into a toxic waste dumpster. So fade in, fade out. 18 years later, and a lucky boy, his name's Lucky, ironically, happens to meet up with the daughter.
As you've all heard before, you know I'm not a person with a high tolerance level. I knew I had to find a way that I could send that lucky boy straight to the devil.
Kirsten is joyfully and lovingly taking our country and our culture and our society to task, but she's doing it in a way that we can laugh along with it until we realize the point that she's making, and then hopefully we're horrified into the action that we all want to take. So if that, as far as I'm concerned, if that doesn't line up with this generation of young artists, what does?
Saving every penny, skimping on meals, no time for sickness, can't pay the doctor, learning a new language, the grammar is driving me wild, but I'm gonna learn it, to grovel, to beg, to tell you I'll pay you an arm and a leg, to make sure that I secure freedom for my child, my child.
And you can see Kirsten on our panel on October 19th. We love Kirsten. Now, let's get started with our show tonight. Our first musical tonight is Salem, which has book, music, and lyrics by Kirsten.
In Salem, Susan, Bridget, Miriam, Martha, Rebecca, and Mary are held hostage in a modern-day courtroom for their collective trial by judge and jury. We marvel at the mass hysteria, we deliberate, and we ultimately are part of deciding the fate of these 6 women. Follow the twist, switchbacks, and real-life discoveries that are made as we speculate. Why did this happen? How did this happen? And heaven forbid, could it ever happen again?
Wow. And now joining us to find out from their homes are the writer and director of Salem, Kirsten, and for the second week in a row, Susannah Lapine.
Woo!
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Kira, I'm jealous of your life. You are in Disney World right now, so I just got to get that out.
I am. I'm in Orlando in a hotel. I've kicked out my husband and my daughter, so I have the room for the next 45 minutes, which is kind of nice.
Well, then let's dive in. All right, Disneyland, and those who aren't there.
Disney World.
Yeah, Disney World. I'm in California. mistake. Different castle, different land. So this is the first presentation of this new musical ever. Witch hunts are not just a thing of the past. They are constant in our world, unfortunately, in many countries. Feeling the pressure of McCarthyism and being accused of communism, prolific playwright Arthur Miller fired back with his 1953 play, The Crucible, which, as most of us know, is an allegory that compares McCarthyism to the Salem witch trials. And his ex-wife, Marilyn Monroe, you can speculate whatever you want, but I would say that maybe she was a modern day witch who particularly was taken down by the wrong people. But anyway, that's my opinion. This is what I was saying earlier is this is the perfect example of how art can be used as warfare and of where an artist's point of view and thesis can meet at the intersection between art and policy to create a conversation about the state of the world. And I think I was so riveted by The Crucible because I was like, this really happened? And it's such a dynamic play that feels incredibly fresh whenever you read it. And it's very wordy and very lengthy. People often think they've read it, but they've seen the film, and it's completely different thing. History seems to be repeating itself yet again, and you, like me, are also very drawn to the source material, Kira, and this time in history. So what drew you to this material, and what inspired you to write a musical that would resurrect these ghosts and literally turn history on its head?
Well, that's a great question. It was about a year ago. I graduated with my BFA, and I think I was feeling a little stagnant personally in my art and in my work. I was wanting to find the stories of women and of strength that I resonate with. Probably part of it had to do with having a daughter, and I really wanted to find the projects that I was going to get so excited about and that was going to just like fill my heart and have it burst. And so I came up with like a short list, and I kept coming back to the Salem witch trials. And I just ended up pouring into the history. I read like 7 thick biographies. I made my husband sit down and watch historical documentaries with me. I listened to podcasts. I went to Salem. I got to walk the grounds and see where these women were executed and see the courthouses. I got to stand on the land where the main household of the parish household was, which is one of the major judges and ministers during Salem. It was like I took videos while I was there. I had I had chills. It was crazy. There's like a very palpable feeling in the air of like electricity and of something terrible having happened there, and you can't really shake it. 2 weeks after getting home from the trip, I got a kind of frantic phone call from my mom, who is wonderful, and she was like, Kira, and I was like, what? And she was like, well, I knew we had an ancestor that was accused of being a witch, but I didn't really know anything about her. And so my mom and I looked back, and right in our family tree, in our family history, I am a direct descendant of one of the 14 women that was hung in the Salem witch trials. She's my 8th great grandma, and she is one of the women I represent in my show. I also play her in the show, which is really fun. And that has become such a huge part of telling this story. It has become my drive, the fire in me, the passion to not only lift up the voices of these women that were so muted during this time, but this is my 8th great grandma. It's crazy. She's my blood, and I feel like it's almost a responsibility at this point that I feel really thankful and honored and privileged to have.
Wow. And how did you come to collaborate with Sarna?
Well, Sarna's just the best. Sarna and I met several years ago at a 54 Below concert of my work. And she was kind enough to read a draft of a show I had then and suggest a book writer, which was wonderful. I worked with Matthew Green for about a year and a half, writing a new musical centered around the concept idea of what we had. And then after that, Sarna read it and was kind and receptive. I'll let you take it from there.
Well, that was my experience of it too. But a mutual colleague of ours brought me to this 54 Below show and said, you really need to meet this young composer who's just come out of school. And he was very taken with her work, and it was a magnificent concert, and it was evident that there's something very special about Kira and very prolific. So within I think about 2 to 3 years, when we did get back together again, there was like a list of new projects she had been developing, and she happened to mention this one. And like you, Joe, The Crucible was a very influential book book or play, but I read it as a text first in my life, and immediately was interested in the subject matter. And so that's, I kind of begged Kira to send it to me. She did.
Well, I was going to say really quickly, I'm just going to jump in with what I think the most obvious theme of a story like The Crucible is the power of fear and how it can eat and destroy us, and how it's simply a perception that can be presented on the world stage or on a stage in a theater. And so I think the power of fear is a big theme of the show, and about your show and sort of usurping that fear through power.
Yeah, ultimately, I think of the message of what I want to convey is a fearless type of forgiveness when we have those that we love and those that we don't love make mistakes, and a radical form of repentance when it's on us. I really feel strongly about that. I have talked to folks young and old, my wonderful grandparents as well, about this, and it's come to a kind of a consensus that the time we're living in right now is one of the biggest times of mass hysteria that they can remember in their lifetimes, that I've seen in my lifetime. And so it feels like a poignant topic right now.
It's almost cathartic in a weird way. Mm-hmm. So I think as we set into our first song, tell us more about the plot of the show, because we haven't talked about that enough yet.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 6 accused women and their 6 accusers. And our 6 accused women are kind of trapped in a modern day courtroom with a judge and the jury. The jury is the audience. And we are taken on their trial as spectators and as judges, so that we can hopefully hear from them at some point about how this happened, why this happened. And about halfway through, everything blows up in our faces, and we get to ride that roller coaster the rest of the way. I don't want to spoil anything or give it away too much.
Well, let's talk about our first song then. They get the little sneak peek before of the plot, but that's all they're going to get.
Okay. So this one is a song. It is about midway through the show. It's sung by the judge, performed by Antonio Cipriano, who's the best.
And I remember you sent me this email back on August. You're like, my dream would be to have Antonio sing it. Do you know him? And I'm like, I do. And I made this little artistic kind of matchmaking for you, and I'm so glad it happened.
I know. Jen was my fairy godmother with that. That was so wonderful. He does an excellent job. So in this song, our judge is deliberating back and forth. What is he going to do in this situation? He's hearing from the people of the town that there are lots of uprisings and there's a lot of fear going on, and he's hearing from the people of the town, you need to condemn these women. And from the accused women's side, he has a feeling that there's something that is not being told, and that he hasn't quite heard any of them speak and share their stories. And so he has his conscience a little bit torn, and we kind of can peel back those layers a little bit and start to see a glimpse of empathy there.
Here is Antonio Cipriano.
Fight night, the bitches fight night. Right, I got that right, yes.
People in the village, yeah, they talk the rumor mills running this town. Shut the doors, triple check the locks, this is how it's gonna go down. It's always the king who is the crown, and mine is made of steel. I'm about to call the executioner, and his cuts never heal. The people have spoken, force my hand, and say the land is damn will be damn. How they gonna die, how they gonna pay? It's a treacherous game, but you pay to play. Cross my heart and you wanna die. You make tough choices when you're the good guy. Hands up, get that gunshot, step up to the stand. Ready or not, ready or not, ready or not, ready or not. People always try to whisper in my ear. If I listen, then they pay me well. Oh, we all just try to keep our families alive. Every street's a dead end to hell. It's always the queen who makes the moves and rules with an iron fist. I'll be playing God here all night long, and that an M. Night Shyamalan twist. The people have spoken, force my hand, and say the land, it's damn or be damn. How they gonna die, how they gonna pay? It's a treacherous game, but you pay to play. Cross my heart, you wanna die. You make tough choices when you're the good guy. Hands up, get that gunshot, step up to the stand. Ready or not, ready or not, ready or not, ready or not. Let the gasoline load the AK-47. Everybody knows only good girls go to heaven. I don't have a choice, no sin or no sin. We already know that the good guys win. Yeah, they do. The people have spoken, force my hand, and say the land is damn will be damn. How they gonna die, how they gonna pay? You decide, it's judgment day. Cross my heart, you wanna die. You live in gray when you're the good guy. Throw on your robe, shoot the gavel like a shot. Step up to your throne. Ready or not, ready or not, ready or not, ready or not. You are not ready.
Sly little laugh.
He's a gem. The last show I saw before the shutdown was Jagged Little Pill.
I still have to see it.
He's so good in it.
One of the things I said to Jen when she was like, so what do you think of Salem? When she was sending me a bunch of your shows, I said, I think it's my favorite of her shows. And I said, one of the reasons I like it is because it doesn't sound anything like I thought it was going to sound like.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Thank you. The pop and hip hop style of music is my favorite to listen to. It's my favorite to make. It's where I've found I can have the most fun and creativity, and it feels the most like myself. And so when I kind of figured out how to use Logic a year ago and do my MIDI keyboards and kind of make it fun, I fell in love with it. It's been the funnest process.
And Susannah, one thing I love about you as a director is, you do things like Send You to the Park with George, you do things like Borderline, you do things like this, you do every kind of genre of music, I feel like, in the musical theater, and that's a feat. That's so cool.
Thank you. I mean, for me, it's always driven by the story and the writers, the creators. And if it stirs a strong response, the musical genre doesn't matter. I think it's just a tool to express an incredibly unique and interesting story. And I love all kinds of music, so it does serve that.
Sarna, Sun in the Park with George is one of my favorite shows, and I've always really loved the work of Sondheim and James Lapine. But I feel like a few years ago, I've always felt it was a little hard to get into the show because I found it to be cerebral and often about the stuff that was on stage. And what I found really special about your production was it wasn't about stuff. It was about relationships, and it was about the people around all that stuff, because all that stuff wasn't really there. And so I think because of that, I think you're the perfect director for this piece.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Well, a secret aspect of, not a secret, but something that people might not know is the first time I directed something in the Park with George was for a very, very small, like barely birthed regional theater in Columbus, Ohio. And there was no stuff. I mean, we had a tent up over the light board because the roof was leaking. So the opportunity to develop that show with a really intimate community in a space where the stuff wasn't there to begin with was something that taught me a tremendous amount about what existed on the page and how to mine that and manifest that through, as you say, Joe, through the characters and their relationships. And it is something I look for. Like, if it's not on the page or in the score, all the glitter in the world ain't gonna fix it.
If it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. That's what I say.
Yeah. I'm gonna use that forever now. I love that. Well, speaking of things that are on the page, what is our second song tonight?
This song is called Kingdom Comes, and it is our first peek inside the hearts and the minds of the women. We kind of go in a little cerebrally and we see their collective thoughts, what they're all feeling and thinking at the same time. So it's sung by 6 of our accused women.
And who is singing this one? I think I know her.
I am performing this song.
Here is Kira.
Good song.
Some say water by fire and ice. I know it better than most. At least with those, you get to be ghost. Waiting in a limbo is far worse. Dying has a permanence, the prospect of rebirth, free fall into the abyss, floating in a purgatory, getting harder to resist as the ghost light turns to blue, as the daylight breaks into. I wait here, lower my body into a watery grave. I'm going numb. Shout from your synagogues, tailor the truth that you tell, and I will succumb, loosen my will do. You call another witch, maybe you won't be accused. The distortion is hard to deny. When fear is at the root, we all think that we're the good guy. As the ghost light turns to blue, as the daylight breaks into, I wait here. As the ghost light turns to blue, as the daylight breaks into, I wait here. Lower my body into a watery grave. I'm going numb. Shout from your synagogues, tailor the truth that you tell, and I will succumb. Loosen my lips, lay down your weapons, your chains, grenades, and guns, till the kingdom comes, till the kingdom comes.
Woo! We kept the bridge for time reasons, but little preview.
I think watching that and knowing that like you were singing for the voice of someone you are related to, I think it makes it even stronger.
It feels like doing a different part. I got to BFA in musical theater. It feels like a different kind of role and different kind of part. I think partially because I get to write it, but partially because she's my blood ancestor. And everything that goes on to her in real life in this just blew me away at her strength, her solidarity, her conviction. And I hope with all of my heart that she is smiling down and that she approves of this. And I feel like I've had her close to me during this process, which has been really cool.
I'm sure she is proud of you.
Well, one of our viewers, Stephen Lynn, said the world needs Salem right now, and I think I couldn't agree more. So thank you both. Thank you, Sarna, again, second week in a row. And thank you, Kira, for Disney World.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. This is the happiest place on earth, right? In this life.
Have a Nikki churro for me, pretty please.
Oh, all the churros. Yeah.
All the churros. Well, we will see you guys soon. Yeah.
I'm
and we'll see you
excited
guys
that you
soon.
this moment with your child. You know,
I
There's
know.
something
No.
It's gonna be so
There's
fun.
something
I can't
powerful
imagine.
We'll take lots of masked photos and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm just
that
so
was
jealous.
So powerful. Just that whole connection, and to have Sarna back, really, really wonderful. Thank you, Kira. And now on to the second half of our presentation, Shapeshifters, a queer comic book musical, which has music and lyrics by Truth Bachman and was developed with its director, Jalen Livingston.
In Shapeshifters, high school bully and comic book genius Mel discovers a hidden plane of existence called queer time, simply by drawing scenarios with pen and paper. And queer time, Mel joins the ranks of an underground network of queer and trans superheroes called the Shapeshifters. As Mel and the Shapeshifters sprint towards uncertain futures, this tribe of queer heroes must rely on community to persist, resist, and survive their living nightmares. Based heavily in music and image, Shapeshifters synthesizes epic musical theater, LGBTQ history, and visually arresting graphic novels to create a universe of queer superheroes all its own. Wow.
Wow. Sounds amazing. And now joining us from their homes are the writer and director of Shapeshifters, Truth Bachman and Jalen Livingston.
Hello,
Hey, guys.
hello.
Hey, friends.
Where are you guys coming
Everybody.
to us from? I think Truth
Truth,
is
do you want to go
muted.
first?
Truth, I think
Truth,
you're
I think you're
muted.
muted.
I
There
am
we
here
go.
in Brooklyn, New York, and so happy to be with you.
I am actually heralding today from Los Angeles, California.
Ooh.
And
Well,
super happy to be here.
It's so wonderful to have you both here in 2 different time zones. It's so great. Well, New York Theater Barn and myself first got to work with Truth as an actor on a project. Well, I should say I first got to work with Truth as an actor on a project for Musical Theater Factory. And then Truth's show, Chasing Fear, written with Blake McCarty, was featured in both New York Theater Barn's Newark series and Choreography Lab. And I wanted to note that Chasing Fear is a musical inspired by Turkish folklore about a boy who leaves home in search of the true meaning of fear and seen through the eyes of a young refugee. That presentation was produced in partnership with the Z and Infante, which they also performed in the presentation, which was really, really spectacular. I didn't get to see it because I was actually in China, but we have some wonderful footage of it. There's a song from the show on your EP, Blue River, called Glass of Water's Joy. And this is an incredible, incredible album. And that song is something that I listen to often. Jalen, you are the resident director of the Broadway musical Tina, which we so love. And you were the director of Chicken and Biscuits, the new play that ran at Queen's Theater, written by our friend Douglas Lyons. And you were the director of the solo play Neptune, about a young Black queer HIV positive boy who is lost on his way to a date. Sounds like a really, really interesting piece. So exploring rich, complex, and multi-dimensional themes and stories seem to be exactly what both of you do. So it seems inevitable that you would collaborate. So we're interested to know what inspired your collaboration and what inspired you to develop and tell this story together.
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess I can start and then I'll tag you in, Truth. But just to say, I was just like taken by Truth as a person first and like just wanted to have coffee with this person who I had just kind of been secretly following a little bit. And so really it started with us just getting to know each other and meeting each other. And honestly, a lot of my best collaborations start that way, of just me like fanning out over someone and wanting them to know that I exist in the world as well. And so we kind of developed a friendship first, and then as I was exposed to material from Shapeshifters, I kind of was like, I think this is a full musical. It started as a playlist and as a cabaret and concert experience. And I remember seeing the concert of it at Joe's Pub. What is that, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Something like that. Wow, what is time? And I was like, I have to be, well, yeah, exactly. I said, I have to be a part of this. And luckily, Truth asked me to stage a medley of songs from the show for the Public Theater's Queer Now extravaganza that was maybe 2 years ago at the Delacorte. And so that was the kind of beginnings of our working relationship together.
In truth, what I think is so exciting about this show, I've had so many people say to me, wait, it's the bully that this all happens to. It's not the person being bullied. You know, usually we see the person who is suffering get this kind of redemption. What made you want to give the bully the redemption?
Well, you know, I think sometimes it's very easy to play into this idea that all queer people are victims. It's very easy to play into the idea that, you know, we have no agency in who we are, who we become. And sometimes, you know, like Mel is a character who is at the bottom of the food chain in their community and channels that anger and channels that rage at first by taking it out on other people, which leads and perpetuates the cycle of this is a troubled child, this is somebody who, you know, doesn't know who they are or what they want. And, you know, it's not, I think, about as much like empathizing with bullies as it is like people do and behave in ways for all sorts of different reasons, which oftentimes we're not even privy to, and we enter Mel's world from that lens.
Wow. That's really, really so true, though.
Well, there's just really like, there's such a layer of empathy there. Like, I just see that just speaks a lot to who you are as a person and as a writer.
And, you know, we're always kind of taught that the bullies are suffering more than we realize. And I think we don't think about it enough.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we're interested in investigating. Like, what tools are we giving young people in general? For certain people who we deem as bullies, what tools have we given them? What tools do they see in mass media? And in what ways are we all a little bit responsible for making sure we all grow up okay?
And what was exciting to the both of you about putting this in a superhero-like universe?
Right. So, you know, I think when Jalen actually first came to see the Shapeshifters playlist, I was doing a residency at Joe's Pub. And one of the things that Jalen said to me when he was like, this could be a full musical, is like, y'all are just like up there singing and you're like superheroes and like your voices are your superpowers. And every single person on stage was in some way a different queer expression of who they are. And so from there, we kind of thought, okay, well, what if each of these things that makes us beautiful and able to survive in a really tough world, what actually was our superpower? And it kind of started from that.
Wow.
And I think what's so exciting about that is, you know, we kind of all right now are hiding behind this crazy, crazy world, and we all are getting by with something, kind of we're all getting by with a superpower.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. And talk to us more about the development of the show. You talked a little about that, but you've had a lot of development recently.
Yeah, so it started as a commission for Stonewall 50, that I was supposed to make something for the duplex. And I just kind of thought, okay, well, what time is it now? And where am I? And as you know, if you live in New York City, the duplex is right next to Stonewall, which is the birth of the queer liberation movement. Mm-hmm. And I sat in Christopher Park nearly every day, just writing everything that was going through my mind at like the nexus of like what got me to here, what got me to this point in my life, whose shoulders do I stand on? And also how did I make it through the trials of adolescence to be in this place where I can now sort of reflect on it and write about it and share it with other people in songs. So we started with that, and then we had the Joe's Pub residency, and we did a performance after that at the Delacorte Theater as part of the public's Pride celebration. And it was just incredible. We had, 45 people on stage, many of whom were kids, all singing this like Shapeshifters anthem. And from there, we had 2 sessions of development with Musical Theater Factory, one for Act 1 and one for Act 2. And now we just had a lovely week with Rhinebeck Writers Retreat, and here we are today.
Fantastic. Well, we love the Rhinebeck Writers Retreat and Kathy Evans, Executive Director of NAMT. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for telling us about your development. We'd love to hear about your first song tonight.
Yeah. So the first song is called How They Burn. And this song was really inspired by, a lot of the first queer liberation movement actually began in Weimar, Germany, just before the Holocaust. Mm. And in sort of the overtake of Adolf Hitler, there is like the burning of books. There's, scientific studies about gay people, about trans people that are all just thrown away in the Nazi regime. And so this song was inspired by that, but then has come back around in the play version and is sung by my character, Psyche, who is a seer and is seeing a vision of the future and giving this like warning.
Well, without any further ado, here is you.
Ashes, ashes, ashes to ashes, we all fall down. Ashes, ashes, ashes to ashes, we all fall down. Ashes, ashes, ashes to ashes, we all fall down. We all fall down, down, down. We are falling dust into ashes. We are falling dust into ashes of the books. We are falling dust into ashes. We all fall down, down, down. Falling down, 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 down. Falling down, down, down. down, down. We all fall down, down, down. If I were a book, I'd have immolated long ago. Fueling propaganda, burn away the facts I know. Illuminate, incinerate, radiate, ignite. That's how they burn the books in a past life. That's how they'll burn the books in the future. Bristle the bonfire, that's all it took. That's how they burn the books. That's how they burn the books. That's how they burn, that's how they burn. All fall down, down, down. And if they burn the books, they burn solidity, possibility, potential power, and our solidarity. Write down your being, write down your way of seeing. How frightening, how freeing. I know why they keep us in cages. I know why they keep us in cages. They keep us in cages to keep us from owning our words. Keep us in cages to keep us in cattle herds. They keep us in cages to keep us from getting around. Keep us in cages to keep us from burning them to the ground. I know why they keep us in cages. I know why they keep us in cages. That's how they burn the books in the past life. That's how they'll burn the books in the future. Bristle the bonfire, that's all it took. That's how they burn the books. That's how they burn. Burn, we all fall down and burn, we all fall down. That's how we all fall down, down, down. That's how they burn the books. That's how they burn. That's how they burn, 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 burn.
That is such a bop.
Thanks. You know, we have to sing about the dangers of the fascist patriarchy, you know, and make it fun, you know.
I think I have a question for the boat, or you can go first,
I
Joe.
was just going to throw in that there's a little signature Truth Bachman in there. Like, I feel glimmers of Glass of Water's joy, even though I feel it's a different, you know, it's a totally different piece. I hear you. I feel your soul in there.
I just was going to say, what have the both of you learned about the show since this shutdown? How has it changed?
Oh wow! Well, the show is a shapeshifter of its own, and I think what's been most thrilling to learn about the piece is what has become undeniable about the piece in terms of the music that follows every incarnation, the themes that follow every incarnation, our even individual creative intentions that we're bringing into the project. Each time we do a different version of it, we kind of hold up this metaphorical magnet to the script, and there's certain things that pop up each time. And that has actually given us the confidence to radically reimagine the forms in which the story can take and be as open as possible to telling the story in however many ways that we can. So, you know, we're developing it as a TV show currently. We still want it to be something that happens on stage. We believe it can be an audio experience. We believe there's versions of it that are for middle school children or kids to work on. So I think that has been a joy of discovery, of figuring out, oh yeah, so long as this element, and that element remains true, we've created a world that really can shapeshift for such a time as this.
Yeah, and I think seeing your show in a digital medium like that is exciting and it's different, and we need it right now. I know we're working on a project just like that.
Absolutely. The Virtual Hybrid Fund for New Musicals, which sounds like very much in the world of your show, which will create an opportunity for projects that thrive at the intersection between theater and film, completely breaking down the walls of the theater so that teams can develop stories and projects using technology to tell original culture shifting stories that could potentially inspire the evolution of new storytelling systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, super exciting to think about.
Well, I know our next performance is super cinematic and kind of in the world you're talking about. What is our next performance?
Sorry, I'm having delay things, but
It's okay.
All good.
Well, what I know about is really what we're focusing now on is how we can take this and translate it into this episodic form for digital consumption. So that's sort of like the next thing that our efforts are really focused on.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about the next song. We're going to hear Atlas.
Yep. So Atlas is kind of Mel is our lead character, and Atlas is a shapeshifter who is Mel's kind of spirit guide, and she lives in the lineage of the great shapeshifter Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, and all of these sort of Black trans activists who really have paved the way for everywhere that we are right now, and have given us a model to fight the fight that we currently find ourselves in at this moment in time.
And who is singing this song tonight?
This song is sung by the amazing Basit Shitu, and just so happy that they were able to come and sing for us tonight.
I know our digital marketing manager, Julia, is a big fan of their show on MTV, and they're like, really? They're doing this week? So lots of excitement. So here they are.
Carry all the rage inside my throat. Swallow it deep down as I carve out my life by road. Sculpt away my heart when it's chipping me apart. What's the antidote for the rage burning in my throat? Carry my defeat inside my neck. On the outside, I'm a giant. Inside, I'm a wreck. Maybe it's my guilt, my shame, my lack of self-respect. All my imperfect, pressing down, down, down upon my neck. Angle by angle and line by line, sculpting my world till the picture really shines. Shadow by shadow and stroke by stroke, till every one of my bristles are broke. I'm a work of art, I'm a living sculpture. I am at the start, and my masterpiece is my culture. I'm art, a living sculpture. I am just getting started. Culture yourself, I am culture. Carry all my longing in my eyes. Paint away my sadness, anger, masking my surprise. Every time I let those feelings flow, my river dries. Motion of the water in the wells, tucked behind my eyes. My Atlas holding me, holding you. Atlas holding me, holding you. I'm a work of art, I'm a living sculpture. I am at the start, and my masterpiece is my culture. I'm art, a living sculpture. I am just getting started. Culture yourself, I am culture. Culture yourself, I am culture. Carry all my will inside my fingers. No matter how I fail, my need to carry on still lingers. Maybe I'm strong-willed, cause I picked up my tools and build. Here to stay, I linger and I work. The will inside my fingers, oh, my fingers. Atlas holding me, holding you.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, it's your boy, it's your both, it's your neither but sit. And I am a shapeshifter. Shapeshifters are a platform, a collective that amplifies the voices of queer, trans folks through music, through theater, and very soon through film. And it's so important that we support these queer organizations, but also uplift them all. And in the spirit of collaboration, I'd like to share with you Legacy, a Black queer production collective. Legacy was co-founded by myself through and also by Garrett Allen, Kyle Carrero-Lopez, and Ashton Muniz. And we got together because we were tired of not being able to produce the Black queer art that we deserve to be seeing in this world. We wanted to create the representation that we were not seeing, but not only that, foster a community within Black queer art in general. So if you would like to learn more and find ways to donate and support Legacy and also Shapeshifters, you can hit up the Legacy bio at legacy.bqpc on Instagram, and you will get the link to our GoFundMe in which you can find out ways that you can support Black queer art. And please continue to support Shapeshifters because we are going to be shaping and shifting and saving the world one queer story at a time. Thank you.
Yay!
What a person.
Yay.
Just wow. Like what a beautiful person with a beautiful message and a song. I just wow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Really special. Well, thank you both, Jalen and Truth. We can't wait to see how Shapeshifters continues to shapeshift.
Awesome.
And we hope
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Jalen, enjoyed the sunset. Truth, enjoyed the evening. All right. Well, that's our show for tonight. We will be back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock with the new musicals Love and Southern Discomfort and Present Perfect.
Yes, Love and Southern Discomfort is written by Bobby Day and Monica L. Patton, and Present Perfect is written by Jaime Lozano. Check out his new album, and Nancy Chesser.
That's right. I'm excited about next week's performers, Nikki M. James and Mauricio Martinez.
Yeah, they're two people I love, and I'm so excited they're a part of this.
Totally. And it takes an incredible amount of work to make tonight's show happen. And in order to continue to lift up artists and original musicals, we really need your help. Please join our generous donors by making your gift today on our website at nytheaterbarn.org/give.
Yep. Again, that is nytheaterbarn.org/give. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and I hope in an hour you will watch the VP debate because we need to see Kamala and all she stands for tonight. And vote if you're not registered to vote. Register to vote. I think some states the deadline is like today, some it's in a few days, but just please register to vote.
Yeah, I can't wait to see women dominate because women are the best. Thank you for supporting live theater, and good night.
Yeah, good night, guys.
Musical theater is capable of holding space for stories that have weight and that are important and that matter and that have the power to change people's lives and are entertainment, but also a form of social justice.
Thank you, Theater Barn. Thank you very much, and be safe, be well, and just know that I send my love.
Our journey with New York Theater Barn as a director, choreographer, producer,
and writer
led us both to empower and be empowered by incredible artists and extraordinary stories.
And meet each other and make this baby after we got married.
Right.
we're lucky. We're lucky that we got to be a part of this.
And thank you, Avi. Thank you, Joe, Hector. Love you guys. And my amazing cast.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Lasky. I'm a trustee of the Amber Foundation and a huge fan of New York Theater Barn. As a dancer and choreographer myself, I know how important it is to have a home that supports the unique process of incubating an original musical through dance.